Okay, so yes, thank you. I will be presenting a position paper, so it's kind of a more like an outlook. What we are planning to do, but it's very interesting also to present in this session because I see already some ideas from the others to connect to. And so we are from TU Wien. So I'm Julia Neithardt, and this is together with my colleague Mete Sertkan. And this whole kind of outlook is also in the context of our newly established laboratory on recommender systems research, which is sponsored by the Christian Doppler Research Association. And so, yeah, of course, yeah, you know, all know this, what is a recommender system. However, I mean, yeah, so we have of course on the one hand the users and the focus on the users that should get recommendations by the system that are relevant to these users. And recommender systems are everywhere today, and there is also an increasing question about their role and their impact on certain phenomena, as you all know. Yeah, and also, I mean, there is this optimization for accuracy, what has been done by traditional approaches for a very long time, and all this focus. I mean, we know, yeah, that if a user likes a certain genre, in this example, like thrillers for books, then the system would recommend more of the same, and it will have a high accuracy. So so it will be kind of right. And this approach has been very successful to some extent, but yeah, of course, we have these issues that the items are often similar to items consumed before, and we narrow down the focus. And the question is also, I mean, is there much harm? And if this is the case, and we know, and this is why it's a trivial example, so to say, maybe it's not an issue if we talk about books. I mean, of course, and this we are talking about in this workshop a lot, still the bias is introduced. But when we think about news or yeah, also like information, then we are kind of very quickly in this discussion about reinforcement of the system, and that we come into this filter bubble discussion. So this is, yeah, of course, why it's also considered, I mean, as a general problem now. And there is then this idea that we have this beyond accuracy outcomes, such as yeah, diversity, novelty, serendipity, where you all course also know these things, and where we have also maybe now a simple picture where the user gets, I mean, apart from what he or she likes most, also something where the diversity is increased. However, I mean, this improves certain issues, but and it's also kind of now seen as a standard, and many researchers are also evaluating their systems now also beyond accuracy. However, there are still many open questions. For example, how is accuracy affected by optimizing also for the other outcome dimensions? Then also, I mean, how do the users perceive the outcomes at all? So we have a lot of offline studies where these things are done in a kind of, yeah, I mean, artificial way. So typically there is no discussion to real users very often. And then also what is kind of very open is if we have these other dimensions that we optimize for, however, how is bias affected over time? Can filter bubbles still occur? And we still have these societal dimensions where we see, okay, these are all very important questions, and should maybe be seen in a bigger context as well. And also in general, I mean, are there long-term patterns? So we often have this focus on static systems and static evaluation, but I mean, this kind of dynamics over time, we already heard about this today. And yeah, I mean, there is a lot of literature about this, and and there are strong indications, of course, and I mean, we saw it also today a bit, that of course it's also relevant on what domain we look, and the question, what is diversity, what is, yeah, how relevant is popularity, strongly depends on the domain. However, we also have this issue that we have this predisposition about from users, about their personality and other individual characteristics. But there is also this kind of group level. If you and we saw it also in the first presentation also, that there is also a kind of, you might make sense to distinguish about different groups of users. And we have in general a social context. I mean, this is all embedded in a bigger social system, so to say. And then now even going to a broader perspective, and maybe also relating more to the discussion here, it's more and more that also fairness related measures are considered as outcome dimensions of recommender systems. And there is kind of a relationship to this beyond accuracy objectives, although capturing different concerns. But sometimes, I mean, you can have this diversity on assessing kind of the perception of the user, or how is the recommendation list for the user, but also there are ways related to kind of assess the whole system. So it's kind of also a natural extension to the discussion. Then, of course, we have different forms of bias in the focus of research, but it's typically often analyzed in a very static setting. And we have, as I said, and this is also something that yeah, we saw previously, that we have approaches that capture the impact of bias on different groups. And it's in the literature, typically, of course, you can, I mean, it's natural to look at groups based on certain attributes, for example, based on their gender, or even you have these protected attributes and protected features. But very recently, there is also the kind of broader research community also trying to look at groups formed based on certain behavior or based on certain preferences. However, what is done so far, it's often yeah, done in a rather straightforward way, and these groups are often constructed for illustration purposes. And so what we want to do now, and this is kind of, so the idea also is we want to kind of combine all these things a bit, and we want to kind of focus on different groups of users and study diversity, yeah, and beyond accuracy measures relate and bias based on different groups of users. We want to analyze long-term dynamics of different interrelated connections, so just not to consider them separately, and also look what effect bias has. And also, I mean, we want to kind of in general capture more the social context, both like on this group level, but also on social networks and relations. So kind of this is a bit the idea. So maybe this was too fast. So this is what we think it's important to do, so that we have on the one hand, yeah, what is done anyway. It's studied accuracy versus beyond accuracy. It's studied bias versus accuracy, but kind of to bring this together, also strongly distinguish the domains, and yeah, look at different groups of users and social relations. And so apart from using these computational methods, we also think that the frameworks from the social sciences should be considered more. Especially there are all these works where the social system, so to say, is kind of characterized based on social science frameworks. Like we have these whole ideas of Bourdieu, where you have the groups of lifestyles, and also the ideas how to operationalize this into social systems, and also take into consideration more the social network analysis. It will also help to look at bias from different angles. I mean, so this is the bigger vision, and what we are doing now, I mean, as a first step into the outlined direction, we have a case study, which we think is just a straightforward but systematic approach to enhance our understanding of the mentioned phenomena and their interrelations. And so what we are doing here is, together with the researchers from social scientists, so we have communication scientists and also psychologists, and together with 2 companies in this newly established Christian Doppler laboratory. So one company is an Austrian media company based in Vienna. So they have a weekly magazine, and they have a platform where they have news, but also an e-commerce shop. They have events, they have restaurant recommendations and cinema. So the interesting thing here is that we have users that kind of consume items of different domains on one platform. Yeah, so we have this, so to say, we can compare the diversity needs of a user in the news domain versus restaurant recommendations. And for the second company, so it's a software company in the fashion domain, and what they do, they combine decision support by kind of bringing into the web store private communications and recommendations. So the idea is that they have, when you go into the web store and then you have a selection of products, then you can invite your friends, your social peers, that they come into it and make recommendations for you and help you to find the decision, the product that you would kind of fits to you best, and then we can compare it with the recommender systems of the platform. So this is kind of the idea. So this would be now the outline of the first kind of study I'm talking. So we are going, I don't want to go into detail here, but kind of having an observational, straightforward approach where we have kind of re-ranking based on the group level, on the network level, and the individual stuff. Then we have these data sources, what I already mentioned, from these 2 companies. And I think the interesting thing is here that we have the different domains, users that one user for different domains, and also a real world setting over time. Yeah, so this would be, I don't know, I think it's out of time. But so that the idea is that we have adaptive recommendation methods that we want to develop that go beyond accuracy and look at different domains and groups of users, where we also consider social relations. We want to study dynamics of bias over time. And yeah, we propose a first study into this direction together with the 2 companies, but we will do follow-up research, and we have an interdisciplinary team. So why I'm telling you this here is also, because it's kind of for the future, maybe to have some joint discussion and also to kind of connect for these ideas. So thank you, that's it from my side.